Karen is a true trendsetter in this relationship. Now, Kevin's passions have long included food, let's not deny it, rugby and travelling. And how refreshing it is that he's been able to combine his love of food with travel, as any who venture onto his Facebook would account to that effect. Unfortunately, combining food with rugby is a far more difficult proposition. But not for Kevin. During one pre-season for Hamilton's football club, Kevin informed me that he was bulking up for the battles ahead. I foolishly inquired as to what exercise regime he intended to follow, to which he replied, after scoffing down several plates of pasta, "I'm now retiring to my bedroom for a nap. I need to pack on the pounds, and this is the fastest way to do it." But perhaps I should add a fourth passion to Kevin's blossoming list. For it were not for the wonderful Karen, we would not all be sitting here in beautiful Nova Scotia presently. Which in fact is quite amusing, as after one painful breakup of a former girlfriend of Kevin, she confided to me that Kevin was the kind of person she would henceforth emigrate to avoid. Which is ironic, because it seems in Karen he met the only girl in the world who would emigrate for him. But please don't let my stories of shady business ventures, coke addiction, obsession, and rebellion paint a negative picture of Kevin or the Tucker clan. One must note that the majority of this association, tomfoolery and skullduggery, was executed in the early to late 1980s, when parenting was regarded as optional and not a necessary requirement. The Tuckers are in fact a kind people, a tightly knit, loving family who only want the best for each other. Why, only a few years ago, after having spent the better part of 5 years going out with my now wife Wendy, I was amazed to overhear hers and Kevin's granny Doe musing on Kevin's marital prospects. After much thought, she offered up the obvious solution, when declaring in front of both Kevin and myself, "Wendy, why don't you marry Kevin? He's such a nice boy." Thankfully, Wendy married me instead. And in so doing, saved Kevin the embarrassment of not just marrying his first cousin, but also having to explain why any prospective offspring of the love that cannot be named were cross-eyed. No doubt, Granny Doe and Opa Robert, had they been with us today, would have nothing but praise and pride for this perfect, natural union. Now, forget the diaspora. The Tuckers are well connected. Mafia-esque, they know, own, and control Cape Town. Much like the Sopranos. For you can't walk down the street without bumping into someone who Paula, clan name Mother Tucker, hasn't taught, Eben Friar Tuck hasn't coached, or our own Tuck J. Herman hasn't worked with, or Martin Tuckbox hasn't entertained. Karen, as you well know, the way to a Tucker's heart is through his stomach. So for this purpose, always have a snack on hand to ward off petty arguments and stress, and never, never attempt to steal food from a Tucker's plate. They will quite literally rip off your face. Sure, outwardly Kevin, Martin and Eben look like lovable, cuddly pandas. But within lie slightly thinner pandas with the dexterity of a ninja. At the beginning of this speech, I said it was an honor to be Kevin's best man. Because to me, Kevin is one of the best men I know. All people that come into contact with you, I didn't realize you'd be this close, no matter how briefly, consider themselves lucky to have met you and to have had you as part of their lives. We are better for your brand of honesty, great advice, and your level of energy that is highly contagious. Kevin is the most level-headed man I know. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and he knows what he likes and suffers no fools. Alongside his generosity and determination, there is one other thing that stands out, and that is his appreciation of quality. And today, Kevin, you have really outdone yourself. You have found a lady of true quality, Karen. Now, some years ago, Kevin wrote to me asking if I would look after, for a few hours, his special friend, who would be passing through London en route from Canada. Unfortunately, both Wendy and I were out of the town at this time, and we were unable to meet Kevin's special friend on this occasion. Now, I say we were unfortunate, and I believe I speak for Wendy as well in this regard, as I meant it. It would be up to a year later that an opportunity to meet Karen would present itself again. In the meantime, stories of blossoming love reached our shores in Blighty, as it seemed Kevin was well on the way to capturing his first wife. When we did eventually have the privilege of meeting Karen,
Don't get called.
You've been punished for saying that.
when we did, are we on? Yeah. When we did eventually have the privilege of meeting Karen, our first impression was that she was a beautiful, witty, charming, clever, friendly, and thoughtful person. And seeing her together with Kevin in December of last year, we were able to experience firsthand the terrific changes in Kevin. He is much more confident these days. He is sure of what he wants. He's truly happy. And he's much more willing to bend these days too. Sometimes people get upset when their friends get married, especially if they don't know the bride too well. Well, the way I see it, today I'm not losing one friend, but gaining one instead. It's often been said you don't marry someone you live with. You can live with. You marry someone you can't live without. Of course, in this case, it applies far more to Kevin than it does to Karen. Among other things, Karen's Kevin's alarm clock, personal chief, and suitcase packer. I think it's safe to say that Kevin could not possibly have found anyone who would treat him better. And Karen, in Kevin, you're getting someone who will always be able to make you laugh, no matter what the circumstances. There is no greater privilege than to be asked to be a best man, and no more terrifying a prospect than having to do a best man speech. It's a speech that no one wants to do. The best man doesn't really know what is expected to say, and yet his speech is supposed to be humorous, but it might not be. It's supposed to be short, but it probably won't be. It's supposed to be original, but seldom is. It should not offend, but most do. And finally, it's supposed to be sincere, and I certainly intended mine to be. In fact, I cannot be more sincere than to say, Kevin, what an honor you have done me by asking me to be your best man today. Ladies and gentlemen, please raise a glass to Mr. and Mrs. Tucker. Now, before I finish, I've got another letter that I've been asked to read from Kevin's brother Martin. But I'm just going to quickly read it beforehand. Well, that's rude. That can't be right. I'm just going to do my own words here. As you all sit watching a guy you don't know marrying a girl you know well in a far-flung part of the North Atlantic, we sit eagerly and wait for the pictures and stories in the South Atlantic, in a place where pretty much the only thing we have in common with you guys is a love of meat, beer, seafood, and we speak English. What more does one need? These two have proven that religion, geography, and athleticism mean nothing. And true love means quite a bit. Kevin, my little big brother, have a great time tonight. Get loose, show those Canadians how to party, and what the Buffalo Club means. And I apologize for not being able to share this special occasion with you. Karen, welcome to the family. Lots of love, and we'll be raising a toast for you here on this occasion. Mazel tov and l'chaim, Stacey and Martin.